In today's news, Ronnie Skelton promises to completely repeal greedy bill if PVIM wins election. Weak pipeline infrastructure, the main reason behind the existing water woes. We need more women in leadership, says Romney-Moses. She also says redeem our name, digitize the public service. And 1st District candidate Chad George addressed affiliation with former Premier. Viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on popular.
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctbvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.
Well, welcome viewers to the Tuesday, April 4th edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. While leading today's news, Chairman of the Progressive Virgin Islands Movement Party, Ronnie Skelton, is promising to completely repeal the Retiring Allowances Act if his party is successful in the upcoming general election. Well, the act, which continues to spark concerns among residents and some political candidates, was recently brought to the spotlight by National Democratic Party candidate Myron Walwyn, who has since been criticized by Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley for being one of the beneficiaries of the legislation. While speaking on the act at a recent campaign within the 2nd District, Skelton said completely repealing the act will be the first order of business for his PVIM government once victorious at the polls.
So you hear talk, they're saying they have created a greedy bill. And one of our first order of business, I can't speak for the speaker. But one of our first order of business is to repeal the amendment to the Retiring Legislation Act Cap 139 and set a decent salary for legislators.
Well, Skelton said his purpose for completely repealing the legislation is because of the many loopholes which exist in the act, including the section which provides allowances to elected officials.
One of the amendments that is troubling in the bill, they ask that all salaries will include allowances. But I will stand here because I know in the House what happens. That's a loophole. Because if I am the minister, the premier of the country and the minister of finance, and I want to give you a raise, I know if I come straight out and ask for a raise, I will have a swell of people waiting in the streets. So I gave you an allowance. So it's a loophole. That's why we have to repeal the whole amendment. And it will be repealed. Just elect us, send us to the House of Assembly, and we will repeal it.
On the contrary, 6th District candidate Walwyn said that the Retiring Allowances Act 2021 needs to be partially repealed, labeling parts of the act as the, and I quote, height of political wickedness, end quote. Walwyn said that the law was passed under the Virgin Islands party government during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic to benefit the elected officials at the expense of the tax-paying residents. In a recent interview on 284 Media's Just for the Record election series, which will be airing from this evening, Walwyn explained the part of the legislation that he believes needs to be repealed, stating that his pension benefits which was revealed by Premier Whitley have nothing to do with the controversial section of the act.
So the pension that I receive, every former member and every member going forward will receive that part of their pension. And I've said before, I have no issues with the first part of the bill. That is the first part of the bill. The second part of the bill is a problem that I have. And that is the part that I'm saying needs to be repealed. Because in addition to this first part that you get, a member now, if he has served one term, would get his full salary for every month for 2 years. If he serves 2 terms, he will get his full salary for 2 years. If he serves 3 terms, he will get his full salary every month for 3 years. And if you serve 4 or 5, you get your salary every month for 4 years, in addition to what I've just described to you in the first part of the bill. So that too something that the Premier would have said that I would have gotten. If he was to get elected and serve another term, he would get double that amount in his gratuity. If he was supposed to serve 3 terms, he would get over $600,000, $400,000 on top of what I would have received. So my concern is the second part of the bill.
But Dr. Wheatley had indicated during a recent political campaign that it was his idea to repeal the legislation, claiming that chairman of the National Democratic Party, Honorable Marlon Penn, took his idea and ran with it. But the Premier further claimed that Penn only decided to advocate for the repeal of the legislation after seeking legal advice, which informed Penn that his gratuity package would not be affected.
The only time when Honorable Marlon Penn ran to the public and said he was going to repeal it is after he discovered that repealing it will not affect his package. Because he made sure he got legal advice on it. My God. And the only time he went and ran to the public to say he's going to repeal it, after he heard me saying that I'm going to repeal it. When he heard me talking about I'm going to repeal it, he immediately ran to the radio. My God.
Moving on, viewers, where 7th District Independent candidate Pearline Scatliff-Leonard says the weak pipeline infrastructure that is buried underground across various areas within the territory is one of the main reasons behind the existing water issues that continue to plague the BVI. Well, Scatliff-Leonard, who is the former director of the Water and Sewage Department, made a comment while appearing on 24 Media's election series program, Just for the Record. Well, she said the water pressure required to properly pump water from the respective stations to the homes of residents is far too much for what the existing buried pipes were built to handle.
Long ago, we had, 2 reservoirs. We never had, like for instance, in the Rotong area, we had, 2. We have 4 now. There's more pressure going into the pipeline. And back then, I guess, maybe the resources was an issue. So the pipework that was placed underground is far below rating to what we need with the current pressure that's going into the pipeline. You are looking at pushing at least 275 to 305 psi pressure of water into the pipeline when you have a 150 psi or 209 psi in the ground. So you would see what would happen. The pressures that I just noticed, you realize we are pushing so much more into the pipeline. It will break. And when you fix that area, it will break somewhere else.
She said while the issues are known and the plans are in place, allocating the necessary funding continues to be the other problem.
We need to fund the department properly, and I would want to say this to that department, because once you get into that type of work, that's the extent of the work to be done, then we go into a capital project. And capital monies are placed under ministries and not placed under the department. So we cannot do anything until the ministry says, okay, you have a go. Or until the Ministry of Finance says to the ministry, well, you have the funds now, you can go ahead. So those are the issues within the system that hinders the department from getting to where it needs to get.
Well, Scatliff-Leonard said the frequent breaking areas in the water infrastructure system are widely known to many, to the extent where she says the experts can predict where a breakage will take place before it happens.
We at Sikawuspe, we have lots of breaks in the area. At the pump station at Anderson, which is close to Agape School up there, the church. Right ahead of the pump station, we have constant breaks, and that's because of, like I said, the weakness of the pipes. And you cannot tone it down, you cannot do any of that, because then no one will get water or we will not be able to fill the tank. So we have no choice but to stay at our constant pace to 75, 305. Expecting and hoping and praying probably that breaks do not happen in the area to put persons out of water. So that's the situation there. And if you are looking, I don't know if our audience are looking at what's going on. You have the frequent breaks, like I said, in regular areas. They don't separate too often. Just monitor it, you'll see. You could reliably go eastern and point out where breaks will happen. You know, it's concreted in, you could see, and you're constantly there. Not the department fault, it's just an issue with funding.
But the 7th District candidate says the issues surrounding water in the territory have to be prioritized to be resolved, and spoke to how she would seek to address the issue once successful at the polls.
At the Water and Sewage Department, I think we would recall that then Premier indicated we were in $20 million in the red, which is the truth. And that happened because we added by water to the system. By water adding to the system brought along with it another $15 million per annum. Before, it was about 13. So that's where that big disparity came from. And I would want to think that you would want to put at least $10 million in an account to bring down those leaks in the system. It saves us. Let's bring it down, because every leak that you see in this territory, we pay for it. Because once that water hit the tank, once it hits the tank, we pay for it. So it doesn't matter where it go after that, or how it's wasted, or what you think someone is doing with it, we pay for it. So let's bring that bill down.
On to our next story, where District 1 candidate Sylvia Romney-Moses believes that there is a need for more women in leadership in the Virgin Islands. While she noted that there have been women at the table, she said there is a need for a greater shift in the gender ratios of the territory's executive and legislature.
If you look at what our cabinet is made up of, well, our cabinet now, yes, it does have a woman in it, simply because of the unity government that was put in place a couple of months ago. But previous to that, our women at the table have been, I don't want to say the word lacking, we have not been there.
Romney-Moses said further that it is necessary to not only have women contribute to important discussions, but in some cases they may be better fit to take the lead.
Yes, we are serving the coffee. Yes, we are taking the notes. But I think it is time for women to be at the table, sitting at the table, and certainly I would say at the head of the table, to champion the cause, not just for women, but for all people of the BVI, you know, from babies to our elderly parents, to ensure that, you know, they're taken care of, they're nurtured, and to ensure that, you know, our views as female, as women are heard.
Well, should she be elected, Romney-Moses hopes to provide the necessary representation for women and girls across the territory by ensuring that their views and concerns remain a part of the discussions.
I'm a woman, so I would bring a different perspective to the table. I believe that a lot of the issues plaguing the territory, certainly from a female point of view, for our women like yourself and young girls, I think a woman would be better able to address those.
Well, up next, redeem our name, digitize the public service, says Romney-Moses. And 1st District candidate Chad George addressed affiliation with former Premier. But these are more stories after a word from our sponsors.
treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today we are doing shark research. So today we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on popular.
Andy, turns out I'm allergic to the Australian veggie spread.
Ooh, thankfully CG will cover you anywhere in the world. Remember when I went to Australia for my title fight? Trust me when I say you do not want to get in the ring with a kangaroo. It wasn't until my victory dinner with the Sultan that I realized top shelf caviar doesn't agree with me. But I was covered. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm teaching your cousin how to use a flamethrower. Woohoo!
Medical cover anywhere in the world. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites. It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy. Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, Sylvia Romney-Moses, PVIM candidate for District 1, believes that the next elected government will be tasked with the duty of redeeming the territory's good name in regional and international circles, given the circumstances which have prevailed in recent years. But this she explained while sharing her vision for the territory 5 years into the future.
Redeeming ourselves in the international arena. BVI used to be one of those countries where we were top-notch in many things. Certainly within the Caribbean, we were looked upon for financial services. We were one of the leaders in that area. So I certainly see us redeeming ourselves.
Romney-Moses also stressed on the need to make the necessary interventions to advance the public service. She believes it is time to go digital and free Virgin Islanders from fighting lines, hours, and lunch schedules to get their important business done.
Ensuring that our public service is up to world-class standard, that has been an aim of the Deputy Governor's Office and the Governor's Office for many years. And I feel that within the next 5-10 years, certainly within the next 5 years, we should be able to achieve a public service that is innovative, that is on the cutting edge of technology, where citizens are able to, wherever they are, pay their taxes online, book their, renew their passports online, renew their driver's license online. All these services within the next 5 years, we must be able to be at a level with other countries where you don't have to go into an office and stand in line, or you're trying to reach somebody on the phone and they're out on lunch or whatever the case is.
Well, in a 284 Media's political series, 1st District Independent candidate Chad George, when asked about his known affiliation with former Premier Andrew Foy, said Foy was my friend and the matter was unfortunate. Take a listen.
We are at the general elections at this point. There are persons who have long associated you with being, some want to call it the right-hand man for the former representative. For the persons who have said that they are concerned that there will be any level of influence from the former representative on you and your campaign or your representation, what do you say to those persons?
Well, I would say to those persons that they are wrong. I know people say that you're generally known by the company you keep, but anyone who knows me know that I'm not easily influenced and I don't do things that I feel uncomfortable doing. I'm a compliance officer. To be a compliance officer, I'm sorry, I'm an approved compliance officer. To be an approved compliance officer, you have to pass a fit and proper test by the BVI FSC. I have passed that test to be deemed fit and proper. One of my job as a compliance officer / money laundering reporting officer is to go through the due diligence and KYC of any clients that my company takes on. And if these clients are not up to the standard that my company would like to take on, I'm the gatekeeper that keeps that person out. So I know the difference between right and wrong when it comes to finances, when it comes to the financial service sector, etc. So it's unfortunate what happened, but we have to let the judicial system run its course and see whether the individual is innocent or guilty before we jump to conclusions. And like I said, me and him, I won't deny it, me and him were good friends. But what he did does not dictate what I would do.
Well, George also stated why he decided to contest the 1st District.
There's a lot of answers to that question, but the main answer is that I haven't seen progress in the 4th District like I think should have been made. So that's the main purpose that I'm contesting this year's general election.
Well, he also took time to address a number of issues he would tackle if elected.
Well, there's a lot of issues that needs to be addressed. I recently had my lunch this weekend and I list a number of them. One which is a top priority would be to the Western Ferry Terminal. I think we need to get that back on track. I know there's already been plans proposed, etc. So one of the first things I would do is meet with the various agencies and individuals who has already been on the ground with this project and see the best course of action in regards to getting the ferry terminal back up and running. The roads, which is not just an issue for the 4th District, it's an issue for the BVI on a whole. So I would meet, like I said, with the appropriate person and see the best course of action as well, how we can get the roads done, and not just done, but done properly so that they don't have to be done every couple of months with the regular, normal patching and stuff.
Well, up next, Broadway star blown away by VI talent. And 1st District candidate Dr. Karl Dawson outlines what makes him different and fit to represent. Well, these stories when Twit 4 News return.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Angie, how can I get my claims paid quick? Rent's due next week.
CG processes 99% of claims within 5 days. Remember when I was hang gliding with those goats? I caught a gust of wind and flew right into a moving car. Every appendage was in the cast, and they paid fast and fairly. That's what I get for trusting a man with a mustache and an eye patch. Now I gotta go. I'm meeting the guy who bedazzled my toes.
99% of claims are processed within 5 days. CG Insurance. Good like that.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Well, welcome back, viewers, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Well, Broadway artist Christopher Faison recently spent some time nurturing the talents of the territory's young singers, actors, and dancers during a visit to Tortola. Well, Faison, who made his Broadway debut in My Fair Lady, said that he was completely blown away by the talent of young Virgin Islanders.
I've been blown away actually by the talent of the young people here. We have had some singers come through and a meeting with some dancers this evening. It's just been a really interesting and eye-opening experience to see young people, especially young people of color, who are really engaged and really into the arts, and is just phenomenal talent that I've gotten to witness and critique and give feedback on. It's been really beautiful.
Well, his visit to the territory, as he explained in a special interview with Tweet 4 Media, was a purpose of enhancing engagement between artists with the hopes of achieving a collaborative project.
For the past few days, I've been doing some youth engagements and working with the young people here in town, trying to establish a connection between Broadway and the arts here in BVI. Really, the goal has been to sort of introduce Broadway to people who don't really know what it is, and to be able to sort of start the foundation for building an enhanced engagement here between all of the different local artists here in town, to really hopefully bring something collaborative together at the end of the process.
Well, his master classes engaged students from the Elmore Stout High School, Brigada Flats Educational Center, Siboney School of Excellence, the HLSCC Drama Department, YAP, Killy, and Firebird Performing Arts. Well, these sessions provided a unique opportunity for him to provide personalized advice and guidance to the students.
The goal in the masterclass is to get the young person to sing a song for me, let's say, and then they'll sing, and then I'll critique them and give them feedback, and then have them go over it again using that critique and feedback, and just to see the difference between the first time they sang it and the second time they sang it, or sometimes even the second or third time, to really pull out of them the gift that they naturally have that they may not know is there.
Faison said that his experiences with the youth have been beautiful, and he encourages any Virgin Islanders who aspire for a career in the arts to dream big, and keep working towards their goals.
Dream it, and know that it is possible. If you think about the just huge amounts of people who are in New York and who are working in the arts industry, not everyone comes from the United States. Not everyone comes from New York. Not everyone is coming from Canada. There are people from the Caribbean, there are people from Africa, there are people from Europe, there's people from all over who are working in the arts and doing that thing. So never ever stop, always keep going. I say that to young people all the time, because you are destined for greatness, and if you just continue to try and not be knocked down, then you'll achieve what you're after eventually.
To our final story, where former president of the H. Lavity Stout Community College and returning candidate for the Virgin Islands Party, Dr. Karl Dawson, during a recent interview for Tweet 4 Media's Just for the Record series, outlined plans for the district, as well as what separates him from other politicians.
When we look at the things that came out of the COI, at the base of it, my greatest concern is that we as a people, have little confidence in government. Based on some of the things that were revealed, and I'm not simply speaking of, certainly it would have involved decisions by political leaders, but it also involved how government itself functions. The relationship with the governor, for instance, the relationship even with the UK. So I was concerned that we as a people have little confidence in broad government, all the aspects of government. And the way that I feel that will be turned around, some of the things that are coming out of the COI, some of the reforms that are there, I hope that they will eventually lead to greater confidence in government, to know that as an individual, that I can access the services that I need, that I will be treated fairly, that I have as much of an opportunity as my neighbor who has that same opportunity, and that there are constraints or restraints, even boundaries in which political leaders, government officers should operate to ensure that everyone can be satisfied that their government is working for them.
Well, he also spoke at length as to what plans he would implement if elected. But a full series of Just for the Record begins this evening with the First District. Full interviews can be viewed on all Tweet 4 Media platforms. Viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.